Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're mapping out the Bachelor of Science in Business Administration course orientation for the first semester of academic year 2026 to 2027. Now listen, I really don't want you to look at this as just another dry syllabus review. Think of it more as the start of an incredibly important academic and professional quest. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what's expected of you, the goals you'll be striving for, and exactly how you'll be evaluated. We're building a clear, structured roadmap right now so you can kick off this semester with absolute clarity and purpose. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details, let's just take a quick second to ground ourselves in where this journey is actually taking place. The Collegio and the Lungsod Batangas isn't just an institution. It represents a deep commitment to excellence. When you step into the BSBA program here, you're joining a highly capable network. Seriously, think of it less like an intimidating academic bureaucracy and more like an elite club you've just been drafted into. It's a formal commitment to becoming the kind of business leader who will eventually drive local and global economies. So keep this standard in mind because, well, it's the standard you're part of now. Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at 1. The BSBA program goals, 2. The NSTP civic mission, 3. Designing your community project, 4. Course grading and evaluation, and 5. Essential rules for success. Jumping into Section 1, the BSBA program goals, your ultimate mission. You can really consider this the first stage of your hero's journey. Honestly, everything you read, every assignment you submit, and every discussion you participate in, it's all perfectly engineered to move you toward these overarching objectives. The program has 3 core goals, and they act as the active, living professional standards you are training to achieve. First up, acquiring professional competence. This means mastering the business fundamentals. Knowing how to balance a ledger, sure, but also knowing how to negotiate a contract that works just as well locally as it does on the global stage. Second, and this is completely non-negotiable, you must uphold honor, integrity, and professional ethics. And third, you are expected to actively involve yourself in community service towards the development of society. So it's not just about making a profit, it's literally about making a difference. Now, let's move along and see how this builds, because these broad objectives actually break down into granular, everyday skills. You must learn to communicate effectively in both oral and written forms. After all, effective communication is often the only difference between an email that solves a massive problem and an email that could have been a 3-hour meeting, right? You also need to demonstrate absolute proficiency in core management functions. You'll be applying critical thinking and information technology skills to solve complex problems and make sound decisions. And finally, you must demonstrate leadership and civic-mindedness. The ultimate goal of producing graduates with these specific skills is so you can contribute directly to the advancement of our country's socioeconomic plans. Moving on to Section 2, the NSTB civic mission, a higher purpose. This right here is where your academic journey intersects with a specific community service vehicle. The National Service Training Program, or the NSTP, is a 3-unit course requiring 3 contact hours per week. And the National Service Training Act of 2001 gives us a remarkably clear mandate for those hours. The goal is to enhance the civic consciousness of the students by developing the ethics of service and patriotism. I really want you to absorb those words for a second. This isn't just about ticking a box or fulfilling a graduation requirement. This is a legally mandated, deeply aspirational call to anchor your education in a higher patriotic purpose. The training is specifically designed to promote your holistic development, physical, moral, intellectual, and social. It's meant to help you recognize your absolutely vital role as the youth in nation building. It actively encourages the ideals of patriotism, and it develops group consciousness and camaraderie among you and your peers. And let's be honest, nothing builds camaraderie quite like surviving those late-night group study sessions together, right? The ultimate objective of all of this is to produce service-oriented, responsive students who will actively step up and help their locality. Which brings us to Section 3, designing your community project, the ultimate quest. And this brilliantly illustrates where theory finally becomes reality. This is where you get to build something that has a genuine, real-world application. By the end of this course, you'll be required to design and present a feasible community-based project proposal. Now notice the word feasible there. You aren't building a rocket ship here. You're building something your neighborhood actually needs tomorrow. It must be a practical, actionable plan that aligns precisely with local demands and the goals of the NSTP. This is your chance to look at your community, pinpoint a problem, and design a real, working solution. Notice the amazing contrast between your outward action and your inward growth throughout this quest.
On one hand, you have the physical action, proposing that project aligned with local needs. But on the flip side, you have the profound internal impact. You'll be required to reflect on your personal and collective experiences from this course. The physical deliverable is the project itself, sure, but the personal transformation expected of you is the development of a lifelong, unshakable commitment to public service and social responsibility. All right, shifting gears to Section 4, Course Grading and Evaluation, Metrics of Success. Let's transition from the philosophical side of things to some utilitarian clarity and look at the distribution of your semestral grade. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how it leans heavily on the final. Your midterm accounts for 40% of your total grade, while your final makes up 60%. It's a continuous climb where how you finish matters immensely. But, and this is a big but, let's be clear, you absolutely cannot slack off in the first half of the year just because the final is worth more. Factoring into both halves are your daily performance tasks and your major exams. Every single assignment and every test is building toward these two massive pillars of your final evaluation. 75. I want to pause on this single stark number for just a moment. This is your mandatory passing grade. But there is a vital condition attached to this number. You only pass the course after all requirements have been satisfactorily completed and accomplished. You can't just coast by on test scores. Every single task, project, and requirement is a mandatory stepping stone to achieving this baseline. And finally, Section 5, Essential Rules for Success. Your rules of engagement. Listen, these aren't just arbitrary classroom policies. Think of them as your rehearsal for the boardroom. How you act in this class is a direct rehearsal for how you'll act in your professional career. Step 1. Come prepared, having actually read the assigned materials before walking through the door. Step 2. Respect diverse opinions. Disagreements will happen, for sure, but they must be expressed professionally. Step 3. Mobile phones must be on silent or turned off entirely. And yes, that includes your group chats. Step 4. Submit your assignments on or before the deadline. Late submissions are strictly subject to grade deductions, or, honestly, they might not be accepted at all. Furthermore, academic honesty is rigidly enforced. Plagiarism or cheating absolutely will not be tolerated. So the absolutely crucial point that encompasses all of this is pretty simple. Maintain a respectful and professional demeanor. Whether you're interacting with your peers, your professors, or the community members you're designing your project for, this is the ultimate behavioral expectation for the entire semester. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one defining question. Are you ready to lead and serve your community? We've covered the program goals, the civic mission, your community project, exactly how you'll be graded, and the rules of engagement. You now have the complete roadmap in your hands. This semester is entirely designed to challenge you, to build up your professional competence, and to forge your commitment to public service. So, what does this all mean for you? It means the journey starts right now. Are you going to step up to the challenge? Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you an incredibly successful and transformative semester.